Welcome to the Savvy Shopkeeper Retail Podcast. I'm your host, Kathy Cruz. I'm a former brick and mortar store owner turned retail expert who is passionate about entrepreneurship and has experienced the highs and lows of running a retail business. Whether you're a seasoned retail veteran or an aspiring store owner, consider me your guide on this store owning journey. If you're looking to run a profitable and growing business that doesn't drain you, follow my 6 stages of shopkeeping and subscribe to this show. Join me for a journey of continuous learning where protecting your mind, maximizing profit, and determining your own schedule are a priority. Get ready to work smarter, profit more, and grow your retail business. Welcome to episode 235 of the Savvy Shopkeeper Retail Podcast. Why profit doesn't always equal positive cash flow. I'm your host, Kathy Cruz. So in part 1 of this series, hopefully you've listened to part 1. I think that was episode 233, and part 2, that was episode 234. But in part 1, I explained that a lack of revenue is not the only reason why cash flow is a struggle for brick and mortar store owners. And then in part 2, I shared 3 other causes for cash flow struggles. Yes, lack of revenue is sometimes the reason, but I now know from working with many store owners that it isn't always the only reason, the only cause. So I shared the other causes so that you can identify what it is, what's happening in your own business, especially if cash flow is a problem. Today in part 3, I want to answer the commonly heard question, how am I making money, but I don't have any money? In order to answer this question for so many of you, it means we need to talk about all 3 financial statements, which I've never done before. So I know some of you right now are like, Kathy, do we have to do this? And I get it. Trust me, I get it. Learning all of this myself has also been hard. It's been a challenge for me. I had to self-educate. I had to take advantage of opportunities where I could learn these things. So I completely understand if you are, let's say, well-versed with the profit and loss statement, but you avoid the other 2 statements, I get it. I was in that camp. So let's go ahead and talk about financial statements. Most of you probably know that there are 3 financial statements that come from your bookkeeping software or from your CPA or bookkeeper, maybe every month or every quarter. The profit and loss statement, also known as the income statement, the balance sheet, and the cash flow statement. The profit and loss statement is the one I would say store owners are probably most familiar with, the one that you tend to look at the most, because that's the one that tells you, was your business profitable or not in the year? The other 2, the balance sheet and cash flow statement, often get ignored, partially because we don't understand them. Maybe our bookkeepers don't teach us about them, or we don't see how the 3 are interconnected, and they are. So our minds get confused, and then we just check out of the process. And again, how do I know this? It's because that was me. So I know the feeling, especially when it comes to the balance sheet, the one I personally despised the most. So if I pause here and you're only looking at your profit and loss statement, some of you, and this happens often, see a net profit on your income statement and immediately think, great, I was profitable, but why don't I see this in my bank account? Why am I still drowning? Why am I struggling? So I have to say that it's because profit is only one piece of your financial state or equation. There are other things to consider, like your debt, your liabilities, assets, investments, all the other things that the income statement, aka the profit and loss statement, don't show. You don't see a debt, a loan, or anything that you're repaying in terms of debt on your P&L. At least you shouldn't be seeing that. You might see interest that you're paying on a loan, but you don't see the loan itself on your income statement. So hopefully I'm starting to give some of you a little bit of an aha moment, like, oh, I never even considered that. And this is why you have more than one financial statement, because one statement alone doesn't represent the full picture. All this to say, you can't ignore your balance sheet and your cash flow statement, and neither should your business advisors or the people who are generating the reports. This is something I wish I could really dive into more on today's podcast episode, but I can't because I just want to stay focused on answering the question that I started with. So, in my mind and how I view it, it does start, I think I would start with the P&L. Because the profit helps fund what's happening on the balance sheet. So the profit may be paying for debt. It may be paying you in owner's draws. And I want you to pause here and listen. I want you to push pause on your multitasking, not on this episode. Don't push pause on me. Stop thinking that profit is just sitting in your bank account. To figure out where your profit is going, you'll want to go to the balance sheet. I'm going to say that one more time. Stop thinking that the net profit on the bottom of your profit and loss statement is just sitting in your bank account. To figure out where your profit is going, you're going to want to go to the balance sheet. Now, let me share a logical 3-step process for a small business owner reviewing their financial statements. So, again, this is the way I view it. I want to add to that, no, I'm not a CPA. I am not certified in anything. What I am is a business owner, and a business owner going on, I guess, 12 years now. And a business owner who constantly got frustrated that no one was teaching me these things in a way that felt logical to me. So this is how I approach the 3 financial statements now. Number 1, the profit and loss statement. So this is where I start. This statement shows the business's revenues and expenses over a specific period, indicating whether your business is profitable or not. The purpose of it is to understand the overall performance and profitability of your business. Number 2 is the balance sheet. After identifying profit, the owner can check the balance sheet to see where that profit is reflected. That could be in terms of assets and liabilities. Now, I can easily go down a rabbit hole here, but I'm not. I just want you to know that this is the next step, because the purpose of the balance sheet is to determine how profits are being used or invested. So, meaning investments are like, are you using that to reinvest in your business? Are you using that to pay off debt? Are you using that to retain earnings? Are you keeping some of it? And then the third is the cash flow statement. And this is the final step. So finally, reviewing the cash flow statement reveals how much actual cash the business generated and spent during the period. The purpose of the cash flow statement is to assess liquidity and cash availability, ensuring the business can meet its short-term obligations. And that one is really important because a lot of us, especially running our small businesses, or if I go back to my store days, short-term obligations are your credit card debt. So you want to ensure that you're able to pay off, in particular, that short-term obligation. What I'm hoping this does is that this progression, the starting with the P&L, looking at the balance sheet, and ending with the cash flow statement, that it helps you connect profitability, that's your P&L, with financial health, that's your balance sheet, and cash management, that's your cash flow statement. It really just provides a comprehensive view of your business's financial status. It's a really good way to identify potential areas for improvement or adjustment. So you'll see now that you can't just look at your income statement. So let's talk about some relatable retail store examples and stories, because this is one way I know things click for so many of you. So situation 1 is a traditional gift shop owner. This store owner has no debt and low sales volume. This shop maintains steady profits by keeping expenses low and efficiently managing cash flow. They rely on a strong balance sheet with minimal or no liabilities, meaning they have no debt, no loans, no lines of credit, maybe a little bit of credit card debt, and they're focused on sustainable, modest growth. I would say now that I read that description, that was probably my own retail business. Now, the second example I have is a home decor store owner. This store owner has a decent amount of debt, but also a good sales volume. Profits are small, but the owner is paying attention to the balance sheet. She sees that she has built a balance sheet with a decent amount of assets and is focusing on gradually paying off debt. Positive cash flow allows for steady debt repayment and operational stability. You can already see that these are two very different store owners, but they're paying attention to all of their financial statements and moving forward in their businesses from there. This episode is brought to you by the Savvy Shopkeeper Quiz. After years of research and learning from thousands of retailers, I determined there are 6 stages of shopkeeping. But what's more important is knowing the action steps store owners can take during each stage. These steps can help you focus, create efficiency, and improve profitability so you can grow. Take the quiz to find out which shopkeeper stage you're in. Plus, you'll get a helpful and customized list of podcast episodes and 2 free resources specifically for the stage you're in now. I reference the stages often in podcast episodes and when I teach online, so it's helpful to know which stage you're in. Visit savvyshopkeeper.com/quiz to take the quiz. The last example is a toy store owner. So this store owner has high sales and very heavy debt, and it can create challenges for this store. So poor cash flow management means expenses outstrip revenue. Margins are low, and this is leading to losses despite good sales. So there's heavy debt and disorganized spending, and that's leading to cash shortages and financial strain. And that's going to require major cash flow improvement. So really what I'm hoping is that these examples, even though they're like really brief and short, it highlights the importance of lots of things like debt management, expenses oversight, profit margins, and lots of other moving pieces in order for you to maintain profitability in your business, but most importantly, a healthy business. So it's time to wrap this up. In the most simple terms, the income statement, aka the profit and loss statement, one and the same. I don't know why they have 2 titles, but some people say income statement, some people say profit and loss statement. This hints if the business is on a path to strong cash flow. The balance sheet shows the current cash balance and debt, indicating liquidity and stability. And the cash flow statement tells you if you're currently cash flow positive. And I know even as I describe the 3 that way, and I'm trying to describe them in different ways because for some of you it'll click when I say it one way versus another way. Even the way I just described it could still be confusing to some of you, and that's okay. This can take time. Profitability is important. I will continue to say and stress this. But if you want to be cash flow positive and maintain a healthy and financial stable business, your journey doesn't end with profit. You have to pay attention to all 3 reports. Being profitable is what helps you improve those other 2 financial statements. I guess that's the big key thing that I want to convey here in today's lesson. With profit, you pay debt, you can invest in your business, and you can even pay yourself. So I'm just going to say that one more time. Being profitable is what helps you improve those other 2 financial statements. With profit, you can pay debt, you can invest in your business. The one thing that I didn't mention is that you can build your reserves. I mean, how nice would it be if you were cash flow positive in advance of the busy season? And then, of course, pay yourself. This is definitely one of many areas that we'll address during cash flow clarity in Master Shopkeepers in 2025. I've mentioned this now in the past 2 episodes. After we get our grounding in Q1, because this is a year-long teaching process. It is a year-long curriculum, and I really just finally mapped it all out the other day while I was sitting on my sofa with my iPad in my hand, because I realized I really needed to create a solid curriculum around this and have a solid plan so that I can teach it in a way that's easy for members to digest. I can't just teach cash flow in 3 episodes. I can't just teach it in one master class. But what I can do is I can slowly drip out the lessons and the content for you so that the puzzle pieces start to come together. If you'd like to continue this cash flow journey and you want some more education and or accountability, because that's the one thing master shopkeepers tell me all the time, that they join for some accountability, then I would encourage you to apply to join Master Shopkeepers. You'll visit savvyshopkeeper.com/group membership. There's an application there, and Master Shopkeepers is territory protected. In 2025, every single month, I'm going to educate you with a short lesson. I'm going to give you a tool that you can use for accountability all year long. I'm going to ask you to go into that tool every month for some tracking purposes so that you can actually see your progress on this 12-month program. I'm going to help group members improve their cash flow systems and just understand cash flow. Like, it is going to be about cash flow competence. Now, we do a lot in Master Shopkeepers. It's just that I have seen enough people repeatedly complain about cash flow, and it's time for me to unpack it all and to give people a clear path. So before I wrap this up, I want to acknowledge that many of you are chest deep in the busyness of the holiday season. I genuinely hope you have a beautiful Thanksgiving with your loved ones and a really, really successful Black Friday, Small Business Saturday, Cyber Monday, Giving Tuesday weekend. I really, really hope that happens for you. So it's time to go really wrap this up now. Cash flow is the best for many of you in Q4, and I know it feels really good. And I want you to maintain that in your slow seasons, whether it's the slump of Q1 or the drain of slow summer months or whatever this may look like for your particular business, because some of you peak in summer months. It's different for all of you. But my point is, if this is a struggle for you throughout the rest of the year because you don't have all of this income coming in, let's finally get a grip on it. You can maintain a healthy mindset and learn how to manage your emotions around the peaks and valleys of running a retail business. Our 12-month cash flow clarity success plan is just that. It's really meant to set you up for success, even if you don't have all the moving parts and pieces in place. Maybe you don't have a solid inventory system, or maybe you don't have solid bookkeeping in place. I understand that. Now, will it serve you best? Yes, for sure, because you're going to actually be able to see your numbers in front of you. But I want to say this, like, getting the knowledge and understanding of why you need certain things and why they should be in place and why I recommend having it done in a certain way, like your chart of accounts, in your profit and loss statement, or why I recommend a certain number of categories with inventory. Like, learning all of that in advance is really, really helpful and sometimes motivating. Because you might tell yourself, well, I don't really want to invest all this time and effort into hiring a bookkeeper or into setting up my inventory management system. But when you come into Master Shopkeepers and you see what all these other group members are doing and you see how helpful some of the things can be, it becomes motivating. You're like, okay, I just need to rip the Band-Aid off and get this done. I'm going to move forward with it. Enough with the excuses. That's going to be a big key component to this too. Like, are you done making excuses? Are you done telling yourself that it's not possible? Because it is possible to have a profitable business, retail business, and to pay yourself. Speaking of helpful, I know cash flow competence isn't something that I can fully teach, like I said, in 3 20-minute episodes. However, I do hope that you found these 3 podcast episodes helpful. I hope some of you had at least one aha moment, something that you learned that you didn't realize before. And there's one more thing that I want to share here. Many of you have bookkeepers and or CPAs that you work with. Remember to have conversations with them. Make that a priority. Ask them questions. educate yourselves and use that time with them. Some of you have like a monthly call with a bookkeeper that's included in your package, or even a quarterly call, and you don't book it. I'm going to tell you to stop doing that. Make that a priority. You pay them for their service and their knowledge and their expertise. Utilize that phone call every month or every quarter, even if you show up thinking, I don't know what to ask. Ask them to tell you what it is that you need to learn from those reports. You figure a bookkeeper and a CPA, they're going to be able to shed a lot of light on some of these questions that you have. And you'll be surprised that once you actually get the conversation going, you're going to have a lot of questions to ask. You just need to get to that phone call. Book it, be consistent with it, take advantage of the service that you're paying for. Doing that can be incredibly helpful. I keep talking about being helpful, like booking that call can be really helpful. And in some instances, that's what's going to keep your door open. If you found this podcast episode helpful, please share it with a retail business friend or leave me a rating and a review on Apple Podcast. I genuinely appreciate that. When you write a review for this podcast, and I have over 235 episodes that are free and helpful, and I try to give as much as I can. And when you write a review, it actually helps my podcast, this podcast, get seen and other retailers find it, because we don't want other retailers to feel the pain that we're feeling. At least I don't. I don't want business owners in general to feel the angst and the anxiety around all these parts of running a business. So if you leave me a review, I genuinely appreciate it. Until the next episode, be savvy and boss up.